So this video is chapter 3, D-Day. It's titled D-Day number 3, but it's actually the second one that I've given you guys. So on this, very first thing we're going to do is we're going to plot these points. So I'm going to plot -1, -3, 2, 3. Connect these. And then we're going to draw our right triangle, okay? That will help us answer a couple questions. It'll help us find the slope. It'll help us find the length. So to find the length, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the sides here. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and going across is 1, 2, 3. So my by Pythagorean theorem, so I'm going to go 6 squared plus 3 squared equals my hypotenuse squared. So I'm going to have 36 plus 9 equals h squared. So h squared is going to be equal to 45. So I'm going to take the square root of 45. And I can clean that up. I want to start practicing cleaning that up. That's a 9 times 5, which means I can write this as a 3√5. Now, if you want to put that in your calculator, you could figure out the decimal if we wanted to have it as a decimal. So I go 3 times square root of 5, and I end up with about a 6.71 as my answer. So about a 6.71, but you can leave it as a 3√5. On B, the slope. So the slope is going to be change of y over change of x, which is going to be 6/3 or 2. That is going to be my slope. What is the slope of the line segment? Perpendicular. So perpendicular is a negative reciprocal. So that is going to be a -1/2. You've got to flip your fraction and then change the sign. The area of this triangle. So if I'm looking at the area, area of a triangle is going to be base times height divided by 2, and the base and height are always perpendicular. So I am going to do 6 times 3 divided by 2, 18 divided by 2, 9. So 9 square units. The equation of the line that for these 2 points. Okay, so this is going to be y equal. My slope is going to be 2x. And then this one actually, if I go up 2/1, I actually get a nice y-intercept at -1. On number 2, I am going to be doing this from the 17. And so I'm going to do opposite over adjacent. So I am going to do tangent of 17 degrees is equal to opposite over adjacent. You can put this over 1 and cross multiply. I'm going to think of it instead as I want to get rid of this 12 that's dividing. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 12. So I am going to put 12 tangent of 17 degrees in my calculator. And when I do that, I want to make sure my calculator is in degrees, okay? And it is. So I'm going to go 12 times 12 times tangent of 17. And I get that this is about let's give 3 numbers after the decimal. So 669 is about what that is. Now on the next one, I'm going to actually use Pythagorean because I have 2 sides of a right triangle and I need to find the third. So I'm going to go 5 squared plus x squared equals 10 squared. So I'm going to have 25 plus x squared equals 100. I'm going to minus 25. So I get x squared is equal to 75. I'm going to take the square root of that. And the square root of 75, it's a 25 times 3. So I can actually write it as a 5√3. If you wanted to put that in as a decimal, square root of 75 is about an 8.66. On letter C, if I am doing it from the 26, X is my adjacent and 12 is my opposite. So I would go tangent of 26 degrees equals opposite over adjacent. I am going to multiply both sides by X so that I undo the X being on bottom. And I get X times tangent of 26 equals 12. I am going to divide both sides by tangent of 26 degrees. And when I do, my final answer, so 12 divided by tangent of 26, I get a 24.604 about. Okay, on D, if I am doing it from my 31 degrees, this is opposite. My 8 is going to be my adjacent. So I am going to do tangent of 31 degrees is equal to X over 8. I am going to times this side by 8 to undo the 8, times this side by 8. So I get 8 times tangent of 31 degrees is equal to X. I will put that into my calculator. So 8 tangent of 31. I end up with about a 4.80, let's say 7 is equal to X. Okay. On number 3. So I have to be careful with this. They don't tell me anything about these lines being parallel or anything at all. I do have this angle A that they share, so that's reflexive. And I do have this side 16, which is going to correspond with this whole thing, which is 22. I know that this side is 12, and that is going to correspond with 12 plus 4.5, which is 16.5. And let me see my ratios. Okay, so I'm going to do 22 over 16 and see what I get. And I'm going to do 16.5 over 12 and see what I get. So 22 divided by 16 is a 1.375. 16.5 divided by 12 is also a 1.375. So I know that we have a, the sides are, corresponding sides are the same. So this is going to be side angle side similarity, and P goes with U, A with A, and L with S. And then we want to find the side. So at this point, what I could do, since I know that I'm timesing the smaller triangle by 1.375 to get the bigger one, I can take 14 and times it by 1.375 to get this answer. So 14 times 1.375 gives me a 19.25 for my answer. Okay, on B, let's see, I'm going to take my 180 minus 50 minus 35. And let's see, so 180 minus 50 minus 35, I get a 95. Okay, so this is a 95. So now at this point, I'm going to have S is going to correspond with O, and I is going to correspond with J, and N is going to correspond with B. And for this one, I'm going to have angle similarity. the 95 and the 35. And let's see, S is going to correspond with O. I is going to correspond with J. And B is going to correspond with N. And so I'm going to set up some proportions here. So let's see, the 21, which is between the 35 and the 95, is going to correspond with the 6. The X, which is between my 95 and my 50, 95 and 50 is going to correspond with 3.37. So I'm going to have 3.37 let's see, over X is equal to, and the 3.37 corresponds with my 6 over 21. I'm going to cross multiply and solve. And so when I do that, I'm going to get 6x is equal to, and I am going to do a 3.37 times 21, which is a 70.77. I'm going to divide by 6. And I get an 11.795. Okay, so on number 4, each of the first ones is going to be a 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. This is going to be a 1/2. If that's an 80, it's an 80 out of 360, which I'm going to reduce here. And this is going to be a 100 out of 360. So I'm going to put my calculator on. I'm going to do alpha y equal, hit number 1. $80 over 360 is equal to 2/9. And 100 over 360 is equal to 5/18. Okay, so let's make an area model. Okay, I'll have a 3x3. So one side, I'm going to have scarf, pin, hat. And each of these is 1/3. Then I'm going to have tall boots. I'll put T boots. I'll put short S boots. And then black sandals. And my boots are going to be, so we have our tall boots, and our tall boots have a probability of 1/2. Here, I'll try to make it a little bolder since I'm writing over this. I apologize. Okay, make it a little thicker. So that's a 1/2. The probability of short boots ended up being a 2/9. The probability of black sandals was a 5/18. And then we're going to be multiplying all of these together. So when I'm multiplying all these together, all of these rows are going to be the same because each of the scarf, pin, and hat were all 1/3. So this is going to be a 1/6. This is going to be a 2/27. This is going to be 5, and 18 times 3. I'm going to get a 5/54. And so again, each of these rows has a 1/3 for the scarf, 1/3 for the pin, 1/3 for the hat. So when they multiply with my 1/2, these are going to both be a 1/6. When they multiply with the 2/9, these are both going to be 2/27, just like the top one. And when they multiply with a 5/18, it's going to be a 5/54. So now it says, what is the probability that Cassie will add a scarf and boots, tall or short, to her outfit? So let's see. So a scarf and boots. So I want both of them. So we're going to take this. That's a scarf and tall boots. This is a scarf and short boots. We're going to add those together. So we're going to take 1/6 plus 2/27. And when I add that, let me get my calculator on. So when I add that, I'm going to do alpha and y equal, alpha, y equal. And then it's the first choice here, number 1. Number 2, just so you know, is a mixed number, like 2 1/3 or something. Number 3 changes mixed numbers and improper fractions back and forth. And number 4 changes fractions and decimals back and forth. So I'm going to hit this one and I'm going to do 1/6 plus 2/27. And I end up getting 13/54 as my final answer. Okay, on number 5. So on number 5, we want to decide if these are equal or if they add to 180 and what their relationship is. Okay, so E and H. Okay, so E and H are going to be alternate interior angles, which are congruent when you have parallel lines cut by a transversal. So these are going to be equal. A and B together, those are going to form a straight angle, meaning they add to 180, they're supplementary, they form a line. And so that is going to be sum to 180. E and I. Okay, so E and I. So those are going to be same side interior angles. And same side interior angles add to 180. They're supplementary. And we're going to have B and I. So B and I, those are going to be corresponding angles. And when you have parallel lines cut by a transversal, corresponding angles are congruent. So we're going to mark equal. So now on B, same image, same picture, okay. Find the measure of each angle listed below. Let angle C be 52 degrees. So this is going to be 52 degrees and angle E be 48. So what I'm going to do is I know that if I take 180 minus 52 minus 48, I get 80. So this right here is going to be 80 degrees. This is going to be 80 degrees. I don't know. Let me just maybe not write it over the D. How about that? 80 degrees. Okay, because that those together, all three of these together make 180 degrees. They form a straight angle. And I know that B and E are going to make 180. So I'm going to go 180 minus 48. And that's going to give me 132 here. So it's going to be 132. I know that B and A together are going to be 180. So 180 minus 132 is going to give me 48. So I could have also said that angle A and E are vertical angles. Now let's see, angle F and angle C, these two angles here are same side interior angles, so they add up to 180. So if I take 180 minus 52, I end up getting 128. Now, my 128 and G are going to add to 180, or my 52 and my G are alternate interior angles. So those also are going to be the same. Either way, I'm going to get 52 here. Now, if I'm looking at this angle E and this angle H, they're alternate interior angles. So this is going to be 48. And angle B and angle E, I apologize, are corresponding. So they're going to be the same. So it's going to be a 132. And then J and the 48 are going to be alternate interior, vertical angles. So they are going to be the same. Okay, so let's see. So angle J is 48 degrees. Angle D is 80 degrees. Angle A is 48 degrees. And angle G is 52 degrees. Okay, trapezoid. Okay, so area of a trapezoid is equal to B1 plus B2. So my two bases, top and bottom, added together, times it by the height. The height is always perpendicular with the bases, and divided by 2. So I need to find this. This is a right triangle. This is a 3, 4, 5 right triangle. And if you don't realize that, then do Pythagorean. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this B1, which is 6, and I'm going to add it with this entire base here, which is 15. And then I'm going to times it by the height here, which is 3, and divide it by 2. And that's going to give me my area. So I'm going to do alpha y equal. I'm going to enter this in. So I'm going to have 6 plus 15 in parentheses times 3 divided by 2. And I end up with 63 over 2. And if I want to change that, there's 2 ways to change that to a decimal. One of them is the alpha and y equal and hit number 4. And that will change it when I go like this. Another way to do that, if I just get on this, and let's say I have this, is with this math button. If you hit math, number 2 changes to decimals and number 1 changes to fractions. Number 1 doesn't allow you to write it as a fraction, it changes things to fractions. So this is going to be 31.5 square centimeters. On number 7, okay, perimeter of a triangle is 39, solve for x. So I'm going to add up all these sides together. So my x minus 2, my 2x, my 3x minus 1, all adds up to 39. And my x and my 2x and my 3x, it gives me 6x. My minus 2 and my minus 3, minus 1 gets me a minus 3. I am going to add 3 to both sides. So I'm going to get 42. I'm going to divide by 6, so I get 7. So x is equal to 7. So now I'm going to put 7 in for this. So I get 5 here. Put 7 here. I get 14 here. I put 7 here. I'm going to get 21 minus 1, which is 20. So let's say I take one of these sides. So let's say I take this 20, okay? And I see if this makes sense. So if I take 14 plus 5, that gives me 19. If I take 14 minus 5, that gives me a 9. So that 20 needs to be in between 19 and 9, and it's not. So this cannot be. Why? Because of the triangle by triangle inequality. And again, the triangle inequality is where if you take two sides of a triangle and you add them and take those same two sides of a triangle and you subtract them, that third side needs to be in between those two numbers, and it's not. Okay, to measure the height of a tree, okay, Alma walked 125 feet from the tree. So we have a tree and she walked 125 feet from the tree and she measured a 32-degree angle with the ground to the top of the tree. And so this was a 32-degree angle, and we want to find the height. So we want to find this height right here. That's what we want to find. Okay. So since this is a right triangle, we can do a slope angle ratio, which is tangent. So tangent of 32 degrees is equal to opposite, which is h, over adjacent, which is 125. I am going to multiply by 125, multiply by 125. These 125s cancel, so I get 125 times tangent of 32 degrees is equal to h. I'm going to put that in my calculator, making sure my calculator is in degrees. So 125 tangent of 32, and I end up with 78.11, let's say, about, for the height. Okay, and that's in feet. On 9, show your work and include an explanation of what you use, definitions, conjectures, and so forth. Okay. So for this, okay, this and this are going to be corresponding angles. So I know that parallel lines lead to corresponding angles. Congruent, sorry, I'm shorthanding it. So that means that the y plus 2 has to equal 40. So y is going to be 38 degrees. So this is going to be 38 degrees. This and this are vertical angles, and vertical angles are congruent. And so 4x minus 10, let me just make sure, minus 10, yeah, is equal to, so 4x minus 10 is equal to 2x plus 54. So I'm going to get 2x is equal to 64. So x is equal to 32. So I get 32 degrees. So now if I put these values in here, okay, I know that this is going to be 40. If I put 32 in for my x, I'm going to have 4 times 32 minus 10, which is 118. Let me just double check it. 2 times 32 plus 54, which is the vertical angle, which should be equal to it, is also 118. So this is 118. So now when I'm looking here, I have a triangle, and I know the angles in a triangle add up to 180. So I'm going to take 180 minus 118 minus 40, and I'm going to get 22 degrees. Okay. So for this angle, oops. for this angle here. Again, I took 180 minus 118 minus 40, and I got 22 degrees. So this is 22 degrees, and this is by triangle angle sum theorem. Okay, on this one, I am going to do a box. And I am going to copy and paste this over here. Okay, so for this, I have a 4x and a plus 1. I have a 3x and a minus 5. I get 12x squared plus 3x minus 20x minus 5. So my final answer, write out your answer, 12x squared minus 17x minus 5. That is my answer. The next one, it's an x minus 8 and an x minus 4. So I get an x squared minus 8x minus 4x and plus or positive 32. So I'm going to have x squared minus 12x plus 32. On C, I could do a 1x2 box, or I could just distribute. So this is going to be 60m plus 24, and that's my answer. Now on this one, this is going to be an x plus 12 times an x plus 12. Okay, we want to start learning a formula for this. I'm going to get all of that. Okay, so I'll just draw it. Okay, so on this, let me get a different color. So this is going to be an x plus 12 and an x plus 12. So this is going to be an x squared, a 12x, a 12x, and a 144. So I'm going to get x squared plus 24x plus 144. So eventually we want to be able to work this out without having to do the box. There is a formula that we're going to be learning, but what you'll notice is I squared my first term, x squared. I multiplied these terms together, which gave me a 12x, and I got it twice. So I basically multiplied my x and 12 together, which is a 12x, and then I doubled it to get my 24x. And then this was a 12 times a 12, which is really a 12 squared. And so when we start doing this down the road and we see this, when I see this, I look at this first term, I square it. This is when it's a perfect square trinomial, okay? When you have a binomial to the second power. I multiply these together, which is a positive 12x. I double it, which is a 24x. I square the 12 and I get a 144. Same answer. Something we want to work towards. So hopefully this helps you get ready for our test.